Hi everyone. I'm so sorry about that, and I hope that this is much better for you. So what I will do is I will just kind of start from where we left off with that. I know that the internet has been a little bit dodgy here, so I'm really sorry if some of the beginning of the class was a little bit like a little bit weird with the audio. So do stay with me, and I hope that you will enjoy the rest of the class. So thank you so much for coming back on and joining me. We can do this. So come back down onto your mat. We're still doing a little bit of rolling around on the mat, which is what I really like to do, especially at the beginning of the class. So in the previous little part of the class, we just did a little bit of breath awareness. We just kind of tried to get our minds into the present moment and just making sure that we can move with the breath. We did a little bit of a hamstring stretch and a little bit of hip mobility as well. We did a lying down tree pose. So if you have missed any of that, do catch up on part 1 of the class, which I'll be publishing this as part 1 and part 2 so that you can catch up later. So without further ado, let's get back to where we were. We're going to roll onto the side of our bodies now, and we're going to take the left hand, so we're on our left side, take the left arm out long, and then close the right hand on top of the left, and we're going to inhale, we're going to sweep the right hand up the left arm and open out to the right side, taking the gaze over to look at the right fingertips. You don't need to get the arm all the way down on the floor on the right side, just go as far as that feels comfortable. And then exhale, close. We're going to move with the breath, so move with your own breath. Inhale, sweep the right hand across the left arm and open. And at the end of the inhale, we're going to begin to close. So start of the exhale, closing that hand over. And then you'll notice you reach the left hand at the end of your exhale. Inhale, we're going to sweep the right hand open again. Open the chest. Think about creating lots of space around the shoulders. Breathing into the twist. And then exhale, we're going to close. And then take your, roll around over onto your right side. But for this, I'm going to actually sit up and come over onto the other side. And then I'm going to take so I'm on my right side now, I've got my right arm out long. And then from here, I'm going to sweep the left arm up the right hand on the inhale and open up to that left side. And then when your exhale begins, you're going to start to close the left hand on top of the right. Again, inhale, open all the way up. And exhale, we're going to close. Inhale, open, and just do that a few more times with your own breath. Exhale, close. And we're just going to do that one more time. Inhale to open, and then exhale to close the left hand on top of the right. Okay, very good. And then from here, we're going to roll up, and remember that in the previous video, I said that if you aren't able to do any of this on a mat, you should have a chair. So in terms of the opening and closing, what we can do is we can sit down and we can open. So we're going to take our legs over to the left side and we can open up and look towards the right side. So everything that we've been doing on the floor, you can do on a chair if you have a knee injury or you can't get all the way down. And then from here, we're just going to sit up either on the chair or we're going to kneel on the floor. So you might want a blanket here, especially, even if you haven't got bad knees, it's just one way to protect the knees, because once you start to do some damage on the knees, then that's it really. There's no going back. So from here, we're just going to inhale, lift the chest, take a slight back bend. So remember, you could do this on the chair or on the floor. And then exhale down. And from here, we're going to inhale, take the left hand all the way up. And we're just going to do a little bit of a side stretch. So inhale, we're going to send the right hand down the right thigh. And that should just help us to bend over to the right side. So we're not bending forwards, we're not bending back, and we're not crunching that shoulder up to the ear either, creating lots of space here. Inhale and exhale, and take that breath into the left side of the body. And then exhale down. Inhale, take the right hand up. Take the breath all the way into the right side of the body. Smile. Inhale. Come back down. And we're just going to do that in a little bit of a flow. So we're going to take the left hand up. Inhale. Exhale, come to center. Take the right hand up. Exhale, and notice if your lower portion of the body is moving at all, because it should just be really nice and solid here as the upper body moves. And down, and just keep moving in that lovely flowing way. Beautiful. And then just do one more on each side. And then exhale. And then this is where I'm going to just invite you to stay either stay on your knees, and then we're going to move up into Anjaneyasana, which is like a little lunge pose. So we're going to move up into here. So if you know your knees are okay and you can handle this, we're going to take the arms up and we're going to do Anjaneyasana here. If, however, you are in a chair and you know that that's not good for your knees at the moment, then I'd like you to stand up off the chair, and I'd like you to use the chair as your step, if you like, for Anjaneyasana. So from here, exactly the same, we're going to be taking and lifting the chest up. I'll just show you that. So make sure that we're really firmly grounded onto the floor. Make sure we've got a 90-degree angle here. And then inhale, take the arms up, and I want you to lift all the way from the belly, all the way up. And we're going to try not to dip into the back too much. So we're going to try and tuck the tailbone here to really protect the spine and help you to lift up and open through the chest. And what you want to make sure here is that you've got a perpendicular line with your leg, so perpendicular to the chair, and you've not got your knee falling over the chair, over your toes, and you've not got the knee falling inwards either, even just slightly. I'm just exaggerating there, but make sure you've got a really solid line here. And again, if you are on the floor, which I'll show you here, exactly the same. You might want to protect your knees, and you'll be stepping forward and just making sure that you've got a nice right angle here, that your knee's not coming forward over the toes, and that it's not dropping to the side. So wherever you are, those are your options, and then we'll move into the practice now. So you're going to inhale here, lift the arms up, and you can gently move the pelvis forward, but just make sure that you're not completely sinking forwards like this. Tuck the tailbone just to support the back and squeeze the glutes here as well. And then we're going to exhale, arms down, inhale, arms up, and then really lift and lengthen through the spine, through the chest, so all the way up from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. And then exhale down, inhale up. If you find that this is aggravating the knee at all, then come up and do the chair version. Okay? And I'm going to demonstrate the other side on the chair. So whatever you've been doing, make sure you remain consistent and that you still do it on the floor if you were on the floor. So we're going to take the right foot forward this time. Again, just adjust it to make sure that the knee is directly over the ankle and that you're not tipping forward over the toes or falling in. And from here, we're going to inhale, take the arms up, squeeze the glutes, and really lift from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. Exhale down. And we're going to inhale, lift again. Smile here, open up. We might have been hunched over a desk all day. Inhale, lift. And exhale down. Very good. So even though I've gone into that detail on where the knee should be, hopefully that will really help you to protect it and keep it nice and safe here. And then from here, for everybody now, we're going to come to the mat. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to do a little bit of a lunge practice. Just make sure you can see it okay. So we're going to start at the front of the mat. We're going to take the hands at the heart center, and then a little bit of balance now. We're going to step the right leg back, and we're going to stay on the ball of the right foot, keeping the left leg forward, and just allow the right heel to kind of fall down as far as it will go towards the ground in our lunge. And now take a look at the left leg and just make sure that, again, your knee is directly over the ankle, knees not coming forwards, knees not falling in. And what I want you to do is take your hands, it's going to sound a bit strange, onto your left thigh and just make a movement of kind of scooping the thigh outwards. So it's just to get an idea of that subtle movement. So we're doing this around the left thigh, and that's essentially where your left thigh, that kind of that feeling of the left thigh, it should be feeling like it's moving outwards, and that feeling will just help to stop that knee falling in. And as usual, we should have the front foot firmly planted into the ground, all 5 toes pressing down into the mat. And then from here, we're just going to raise the arms up and down, just as we did with our Anjaneyasana. And this should also make the glutes nice and strong here too. And we're just going to raise the arms up again. By the time we've got to this stage, we might have forgotten completely about the thigh. So maybe take the hands onto the thigh again, move the thigh towards the left side. So rotate it outwards. And then from here, we're going to very gracefully take the weight into the left foot and step forwards. And then just walk the legs a little bit here. Might do some cool dancey movements. Shake out the legs. I should do a dance class instead. Okay, anyway. We're going to start at the front of the mat again, and this time we're going to step the left foot back. Again, take the weight into the leg. Use this as a bit of a balance practice as well. So stepping back as far as is comfortable. I've just extended that because I didn't step back as far as I knew I could comfortably go for my hips and for my flexibility level. So work with your own level. And then we're keeping the back heel up because we're in a lunge, and we're planting the front foot firmly down into the mat. And then we're going to use this moment just to make sure that the knee is directly over the ankle. So I might ask my glamorous assistant to just point the screen down a tiny bit. So you can see my front foot is down and the front knee is directly over the ankle. It's not tipping forward, it's not tipping in. And then that means that the rest of my body can lift up and lengthen out of my pelvis here. And from here, oh yes, we've got to do the little thigh thing. So we're going to try and move the thigh out to the right side. That's the feeling you've got of moving the thigh. That's the feeling you should have, that sensation, even though it might not be an actual movement, just to make sure that that right knee doesn't start to tip in. And this will really help to protect the knee during your yoga practice. So from here, going to inhale, take the arms up. Again, it's really good for your balance, this one, I'm noticing, especially today. So try and lift and lengthen up. Notice if you're tipping forwards here and just bring your body weight back to the center. One more time, take the arms down. Lift up. A little bit of a back bend. Lower the arms down. And then we're just going to step forwards to the front of the mat in a very graceful way. Lovely. And now you guys are not going to like me that much for the next bit, but it will be very good for strengthening your legs. Oh, thank you, Vienna. I can see your comment about the sound. It's really nice to see that most people have rejoined, so that's great. Take your brick or your book, place it in between your thighs, and it should be kind of long ways so that it sort of goes the length of your thighs. And so this is what I look like now. I'm just standing up normally, but my thighs are now turning the opposite way. So we just did some work trying to turn them out, and now we're going to do some work to turn them in. And what we're going to do with this brick is we're going to come into chair pose. So from Tadasana, plant both of your feet firmly into the ground. Exhale, bend the knees. So you're sending your bum down. And as you bend the knees, you might notice the thighs already start to turn in, squeeze the block or the book. And then from here, we're going to send the arms up again. If you've got a bit of a dodgy lower back, then maybe just take the hands to your hips. And from here, can you send the hips down further? And just make sure again that your knees are not coming over your toes. So you can see that I'm really trying to send the hips down rather than lean forwards here. So send the hips down, further, further. Okay, very good. Inhale, lift. So the hips are going down, the chest is going up, and it's all very, very hard work. So if it's hard work for you, then you're doing it right. Exhale, start to straighten the legs here, bring the arms down, take the block away, have a little wiggle, and we'll have another go. Just going to have some water. So, block in between the thighs, long ways. We know what we're doing now. We're going to squeeze the block in between the legs. We're going to bend the knees, but we're sending the hips back and down, and we're checking, double checking, that the knees are not coming over the toes, so we can still see our toes when we look down. We're going to bring the abdominal muscles in towards the center, so gather those muscles in, and then we're going to open the chest. So squeezing the thighs, there's lots to think about. Take a few deep breaths, deep yogi breaths, and then take another breath. And then on an exhalation, slowly straighten the legs, and we're going to take the block away. I'm going to shake the legs here. And I'm really sorry, we're going to do it one more time because three times a charm, as they say. So we're going to place the block between the legs, squeeze the block. Now you've all got that sensation of the thighs moving in, and everything should be firing up when you start to come down into chair. So you can come into chair whenever you're ready. I'm going to keep babbling on. When you're in your chair pose, you should feel all the muscles in your legs are firing up, and it shouldn't be in a bad way. If you're experiencing any pain in the knees, please stop. But really what this is doing is it's firing up all the muscles in your legs to support the knees. So all the muscles in the thighs, in the glutes, and they're really working to lift that weight off the knees. So we're down in chair pose. We might be able to do one more breath. Inhale. Then on an exhalation, slowly straighten the legs, bring the arms down. And then we're just going to have a little bit of a kickaroo here. Very good. So we've done that bit. And then from here, we're going to inhale, take the hands all the way up. Exhale. And then just as we've come into chair pose, we're going to send the hips back, but we're going to take the chest onto the belly. And we're just going to come into a gentle forward fold here. So that chair pose is a lot of strengthening work on the back. So hopefully with this little forward fold here, you'll find that it's relieving some of that pressure on the back. So see if you can let your neck go. See if you can start to bring the breath into the back of the body. And then I can make sure I know what we're doing for the next bit. And then what we're going to do from here is we're going to take the hands down towards the ground. So you'll need to have a generous bend in the knees. We're going to take the hips down. So just as we did in chair pose, but we don't have a block now. We're going to fire up the thighs and make them squeeze together. And then we're going to come up through chair pose. So keeping the hips low, but lifting the chest up high. Make it a really good chair pose, your best ever. And notice all the work that your thighs are doing now that you've got that sensation of squeezing in. And then exhale, come up. And then have a little wiggle, wiggle. Very good. We're going to do a little bit on our warrior pose, because that's another one that you can tend to twist in the knee if you're not really thinking about the knees that much. So we're going to start from the front of the mat, and what I'll do is I'll demonstrate this for the kind of general public, people who don't have a knee injury. Then I'll demonstrate it for people who need a bit more support under the legs and the knees. So start from Tadasana, And then again, using that balance, we're going to lift the left leg, send it all the way back. But this time, instead of being up on that heel, we're going to come to plant the right foot down. And we're going to make the toes kind of point towards that front right diagonal corner of the mat. And we're going to have the left leg kind of straight here. We're going to start to move into warrior by bending the left knee. But again, make sure you can see the toes and take your hands again and try and make the thigh move towards the outside of the mat. So that external rotation in the thigh is what we want. Make sure the legs and the glutes are firing up here to really support you. And then lift up and smile because you're a strong warrior with really strong legs now. And then exhale, we're going to start to straighten that left leg. And then inhale, we're going to bend the left knee again. And then exhale. So if you are happy with this, then please continue there. Continue to move with your breath in and out. And every time you move, it will be strengthening the legs. But I want you to keep looking down and checking that you've not forgotten about the knee. I'm going to be very knee orientated today, as you can see. Now, in some yoga books I have, it recommends coming into warrior and using a chair underneath the front leg. And I found that when I practiced this, even though it offered support, it was a little bit awkward to kind of get into. So just bear with me for a moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the left leg towards the front of the mat and just use the chair to send the right leg back. I've placed a pillow here because I found that the chair was just too low for me to get any of that support. And so I've taken the left foot towards the front of the mat. And again, I've brought that back right foot, so the right toes are pointing towards that front diagonal corner of the mat. And I am getting some support here. I think maybe I've tried it with 2 cushions and that was even better. So you might want to just experiment there. But if you find that it's just too much on your legs and too much on your knees, then you could try using the support of a chair underneath your knee. But you really need to be very flexible to get as low as they kind of show you in the books like this. And to me, that's when your back foot isn't down on the mat in Warrior 1, you're not really doing the pose. So it really should feel nice and comfy for your hips. And you've got the 2 hip points pointing forwards here. And then you might just want to hold that here and breathe in and out and lengthen up through the spine. And it should still help you to build a bit of strength in the legs as well, but just take some of that weight off the leg. So that's our warrior on the chair for people who need the extra support. And I'll come back to the mat. So for those who are doing this one, coming in and out, then just come back to this position with the legs straight. Take the weight onto the left leg and just bend into that left knee. Bring your right foot up to the top of the mat and just walk your feet out. So you might notice there's a difference now in the legs. And that's really good because it's just showing you that you're building strength in the legs if the left leg is really aching now. So we're going to come and do this on the right leg. I hope you'll excuse that with this class, we're going into quite a lot of detail with some of these postures. And it's just to make sure that when you do go into a normal yoga class, that every time you come into your warrior, you're going to be like, right, need to check my knee, need to make sure that it's pointing in the right direction and it's really well protected. Then we're going to step the left foot back. So remember, do this gracefully and calmly with your yoga breath. So what I've done is I've come back to where I know is a good place for my warrior. And then I'm placing the back foot down and sending the left toes to point towards the front left diagonal of my mat. I'm straightening that right leg. Then I'm going to inhale, bend into that front knee, lift the chest, so lengthen all the way up. And then exhale down. Inhale, bend into that front knee. Come all the way down. Again, if you want to use the support of the chair, then please try that now. Otherwise, carry on. Lifting and lengthening. Trying to bring the abs in towards the spine so that you're not completely flopping out here or moving forwards. Tucking that tailbone just a little bit here. And as we move up and down in our warrior, take another glance at the knee. Make sure that when you bend, it's not going too far forwards over the toes, or it's not dipping in and therefore twisting. And then exhale down, and then take the weight into this right leg, bend the knee a little bit, and gracefully step forward. And again, just notice that difference with 2 legs. Maybe have a bit of a wiggle here, wiggle the bum bum. And then we're just going to do our tree pose standing up before we start to come down into Shavasana. So hopefully we're in a similar time to how we usually would be if we didn't have that little technical hitch before. So as you know with your tree pose now, because we did practice it at the start of the class, and if you couldn't hear me properly, the main thing I was saying about the knees and tree pose is just not to have the knee or the leg that's coming up pressing on the knee. So we don't want the leg that's coming up pressing here. It needs to be either on the shin or on the thigh, depending on the flexibility and how your hips are feeling today. So establish that beautiful tall Tadasana. Make this really good because it's our last posture before we come down into relaxation. So really test yourself here. Inhale and exhale, and then begin to pick up the right leg. And maybe we should all start again by placing the right sole of the foot down onto the side of the left shin. And then see if here you can lift up tall. Practice that balance. Keep the standing leg just ever so slightly buoyant here, so you feel like you can really root down and rise up. And if you want to go further, then take that right foot and place it on the side of that left thigh. Keep the 2 hip points pointing forwards. Find a point in front of you to focus on. Inhale and lift. Exhale, root down through the standing leg. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can do some crazy things with the arms. Fly like a bird. Oh, try not to wobble. Beautiful. Inhale and lift, and then exhale, take the right leg down, and you should notice that that starts to build strength again in that standing leg. And then when we do that on the other side, that's another really good strength building posture. So come to Tadasana, inhale, and then we're going to take the left foot onto the right shin, onto the side. Keep lifting up and then keep rooting down through the right leg. If that feels really nice and easy and comfortable, then take the left sole of the foot to the inside of the right thigh, but definitely not on the right knee. Oh, it's a bit windy in my living room today. So make sure that you're looking forwards at a point in front of you, and you're rooting down through the right leg, and you're rising up through the spine. Take a few deep yogi breaths here. Do some crazy things with the arms if you feel like your balance can hack it today. Whoop, whoop. And then exhale, send that left leg down and just start to walk out the feet here. And I'm just circling the ankles a little bit now. So hopefully we should finish just after 6:15. I'm really sorry that this has had to be split into 2. Start to come down onto your mat now, and I'll encourage you, because some of you have been doing this class for a little while now, so you know what to do. Start to take your warmer clothing, and then I'll encourage you to come down and just start rolling around on the mat and bringing the knees in towards the chest, and then kind of rolling from side to side, maybe rocking and rolling. And I'll show you that now. So we bring the knees into the center of the chest, rocking side to side and just making any small movements that you feel like you need to make. Maybe circling the hips after that tree pose. That might just feel really nice. Maybe you'll lift the shoulders and kind of round the back here. Maybe you'll take a bit of a windscreen wiper thing with the legs, sending the legs from side to side. So do whatever movements you need to do before coming down towards the mat and being really nice and still here. So you might want to grab a blanket, which I always love to do, a nice warm blanket. And then you might also want to take any glasses off, anything like that. And then just start to take some nice deep breaths here. In through the nose and then out through the mouth. So really sighing away anything that's happened today. Really deep breaths now. Maybe do one or two more. Letting go of anything that's happened today that you didn't like or that you don't want to think about anymore, and just send it away. Bring yourself right into this moment. Allow the breath to return to its natural rhythm as you inhale and exhale through the nose now. And maybe you want to take the chin up and down and just try and adjust the head so that the chin is about parallel with the floor. And then take your attention to the feeling of the body now. So if you were able to get involved in the beginning of the class, then we noticed how the body felt. We noticed how the texture and the temperature of the mat underneath us felt. But this time just notice if the body feels any different, if the muscles feel different. And then just see if you can let go of any tension or anything you might be holding in those muscles. If it helps, you can squeeze the muscles and let them go. So that I quite like doing that with the glute muscles. So squeeze the bum and then just let it go, and then just see if that helps all the muscles around the hips and the bum just to relax. Allowing the feet to fall out to the side. And again, as we did in the beginning of the class, taking the attention to the face and just allowing all the muscles in the face to relax. So particularly the forehead, the jaw, those areas where we tend to hold tension where we don't realize. Allowing the mouth and the tongue to be really soft and just relax here. And then again, just making sure that the shoulders aren't holding any tension and that the hands and the arms are just nicely relaxed down onto the mat or onto the carpet or the floor. And just take a few moments to just think about something that makes you happy. That could be something that's happened today, something that's in your life in general that you're really happy about. Or something that happened in the past that made you happy. So just take your attention there and just rest on that thought just for a few moments. And then it can be really nice to just repeat a little mantra in your head. So today I'm going to choose I am happy. But that might not be your goal. You might rather choose I am peaceful, I am calm. But just as long as you make it really affirmative and positive and in the present tense. So I am strong, I am calm, I am happy. And just repeat that to yourself 3 times. And then we're going to roll over onto the right side of our body. So just start to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, and in your own time, roll onto the right side. I'm coming onto the left so I can see you all. Take a moment here on your right side and just take with you some of that feeling of happiness or calmness or whatever it is that you felt in the class. And just tell yourself that you'll try and bring that with you through the rest of the evening or maybe the rest of the week even. And just take this time now as we lie on our sides just to make that intention, just to set that intention of bringing that feeling with us as we move out of the practice. And then we're going to place the left hand, down on the ground and just slowly come up to a comfortable seated position. I'm going to get my glasses on so I can see you. And then bring your hands into the heart center. And I'm going to say a huge thank you, even bigger than I would usually do, for joining me today and just for putting up with some of those weird internet problems that I had earlier. I'll try and do some magic with the videos, but it might be that we have part 1 and part 2. So I do apologize if you're on catch up and you've had to skip between the two. I really hope that you've enjoyed it. Thank you again to everyone who's contributed and paid for the class, because like I said, half of that will be going to the local hospice. So take care of yourselves, have a lovely evening, don't go too loopy and locked down, and I'll see you here again next week. Don't forget to subscribe so then you can see when I'm live online. All right, take care everyone, bye.